believe in that. That thing should be scrapped.
No.
If we must play politics, guess what? Because the people that know me, where I make the most impact, are the people that I am living within the community. So why can I not go and vote where I'm staying?
It means you should
why can't I be elected?
You should make time for community engagement. Go to those states. Go to your ward and speak with your people. We are coming.
Let me
quickly.
To what you just said. Just a quick one. You see, why this is very important is this. There are some fundamentals that have not been cleared out in our constitution, and I'm involved in the politics of the world. Pick a place where you have your needs so that you can establish yourself. That's what I'm trying.
Unfortunately,
you gotta go.
I'm not going nowhere.
You gotta go.
Change the constitution. Yeah, let's take comments quickly. Run out of time.
So this is talking about what's in the news. It says, "Hi ladies, Uwa, Will Smith is a weak man. He is slapping a man who joked about his wife's bald hair, but shed tears for the young boy who had sex with his wife and sang about it. Chris Rock showed composure at the highest level." I agree to that line, that part. Will Smith shows how weak he was. His wife will be his downfall. He would be lucky if his career does.
But they want to get to power. I would suggest the youth should take a different dimension and approach towards achieving their dreams. It's sad that the old men don't want to leave. Osa, your hairstyle looks like that of Karen Wheeler of Soul to Soul. Bobby Kennedy, Jalingo, Taraba.
Thank you so much. We do not want to go back to square one. Sister Uwa, you're welcome back to the show. We missed you. You always add spice to the show. God bless you greatly. And real good. My name is Daniel again to help us out with this political conversation. We'll revisit that one matter.
I'm always available.
Thank you so much.
Always available.
It depends on law, but upon the personal qualities of those who govern, the machinery of government is always subordinate to the will of those who administer that machinery. The most important element of government, therefore, is the method of choosing leaders, and that's why Livinus and
marketing at PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others usually be silent.
Expected to be bandits in Kaduna State. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and former President Olusegun Obasanjo harp on the need to strengthen democracy in Nigeria and Africa. Just what are the roles of the citizenry ahead of the 2023 elections?
And
Yes, it is a beautiful morning, but yesterday, late in the evening, Nigerians, were greeted with a gruesome attack along the Kaduna-Abuja, rail track. We understand, Mercy, that bandits attacked the train on route Abuja.
Actually going, but where you have this explosive on the train track, and then of course it derails the train, and then they have the opportunity, to go ahead and cause this mayhem. Very, very sad. It calls for a lot of concern and worry. And I remember the time where, there was some sort of inspection in Lagos House last year, and I happened to be around, for that inspection. And I did mention, to those questions that were being popped up, which, I'm sure that no one paid attention to because of the imminent threats that we witness. What measures have been put to ensure that, the train, the trainway or the railway entirely, the entire system is protected, right? Because if you find out these trains are not, didn't make any sense, because at the time when we were moving, why would this be happening? And so the question came, but of course there would always be a ready-made answer for any question and not paying attention to it. So it's really sad, very unfortunate. But it just shows that we have not really taken seriously issues. Like you have patrol of security men, you have the police patrolling that area and what have you. Especially at the time where you have this group of persons creating mayhem, this group of persons being extra with their activities. But I really don't know. It leaves me very speechless. It leaves me really sad. It leaves me, there's a lot of mixed feeling regarding this, because I feel like we're not interested in this, because taxpayers are paying taxes, and what do they get in turn? We need to understand the origin of government. Government did not come through as, people wanted government. It's as a result of a social contract. And some people said, we will hand over our rights to you, and in turn you will do X, Y, Z for us. So we will obey the laws, we will pay taxes, and in turn we expect you to do X, Y, Z. Okay. And that's how government came through. But you see, the contract has been broken. So people are paying their taxes, but government is not keeping to the other side of the bargain. And we don't care. Of course, we're closer to the,
check the situation as it were, and then there was some military intervention. But my question right now would be, that was more reactionary than being proactive. The airport was attacked, now the rail track. So that's their lives and property, because this is just one attack too many. Kaduna Abuja rail track has been attacked even before now. What measures were put in place to ensure that to forestall?
Safer now than ever. It's just an irony. It's just even a country where it's nobody's business. We're thinking about political parties are having their conventions, and then they are selecting who becomes the next governor and president. Nobody cares about government. It's nobody's business. About the people, and you had talked about being proactive, but we're never proactive. We're reactive. We wait for things to happen before we send the army there. But this is not the first time this is. One
of the top searches you would see will be Will Smith's Jada Pinkett for his woman. A lot of people have said that finding as much as he, is speaking for or standing for his family, he should have, kept it together somehow. He should have been able to just hold it all back without having, to hit Chris Rock, who looked all shocked. Some people have even asked if the whole stuff, teared up there when he was given his acceptance speech, for the award that he won for King Richard.
So, it's gotten a lot of people talking, not necessarily just Nigerians, everyone seemed to have an opinion about, this particular situation. And a lot of persons have, until you're faced with that situation, that was a violent act, and it's very condemnable, really. But you also want to look at it on the other hand, the issue of provocation. Yeah. And I remember the and now, so the Jane joke was really a joke about a movie action. So it's a movie that happened in 1997. The lead character, Jordan O'Neill, was the first woman to go through a Navy SEAL training. But in order for her to complete the training, you know how this military training can be very, very, tough and all of that. So in order for her to go through that training, she needs to shave her hair, and that's very painful. Some people will want to connect it to. So it's very sensitive. It's a sensitive thing. One would expect that Chris Rock is
more understanding.
Should understand.
Just how
He's
far,
out there. He should
knowing
not
where to draw the line. Just how far. What?
be joking with you and say, hey, stop. But you don't know where to draw the line. But however you say it from both ends, I mean, no one is really right.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is the fact that Smith has actually accepted that he's done wrong.
Yeah.
What he did was really bad. He's embarrassed himself, but he couldn't really...
Better, actually advocated, that it's something that she has had to deal with. And so people who also have similar stuff can actually know how to, go about it. But then again, we don't promote violence anywhere, anytime. So indeed, Will Smith has owned up and he has apologized. I think people should just let him be.
As both parties have... oh my, so
what's going on? What did I miss?
In a few seconds, you have to have a reboot and all of that. But hey, see,
so
the most important
thing... brain set, reset, snap, and people were also alluding it to the whole Bianca thing.
Nigerians are very funny. You know how we like to stay on top of everything and just make fun out of every situation.
And a lot of people have blamed him that it was the way. The fact is that men also get harassed. That's one thing people should know. And for he to Mercy, there's a whole lot to talk about this thing, but the fact is that most people like, why so much talk? He's just a man, so why should he make so much, why should people be making so much buzz about it? But the fact is that everyone has his right, and everyone, should be treated equally, be you a man or be you a woman. Social media is just so funny sometimes, the way they just go about things. But was it his fault? Why did the woman come onto him? How do you react, Mercy, really?
Well, so just like you have mentioned, the issue, and that's why I've mentioned, first of all, we live in a society where the culture of silence is predominant. And so whether or not you're a woman or a man, silence is always it. Because usually people are ashamed to talk about their struggles and whatever it is that they have encountered. Victims don't want to talk. Sometimes I feel like, how would people react and all of that. Okay, so I feel like that video that happened, a couple of persons have constantly, pointed and highlighted that was sexual assault and harassment. But most interesting is the fact that Ruga himself hasn't really buttressed the fact that he was assaulted. He hasn't seen it as an assault and harassment. For whatever reason, I don't know what's going in through his mind. I can't really say. But this is the point. People go through stuff, whether women or men. And mostly it might be men. And maybe because blood. So your own issues that you're not to him, or he could let that slide. It would just be also a way to let people know that. But
just know that they have their privacy and you should respect them.
But so because we live in a society.
And so, of all the stories, also read up and make decision for yourself and live better lives and know when to, draw the line and know how to respect people's privacy. People have the right to their privacy. Let them believe and let live. That's where I'll just leave all of that. It's still the breakfast. We'll take a quick break and we'll go off the press and review the front pages of major.
Dip in search of solutions. Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of space.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Have Chris Kende Nwandu, who's on standby. He joins the conversation in no time. Good morning, Chris. Tracks 970 passengers stranded. Underneath are attackers over 50 in number. That's what the victim is quoted to say, and travelers feared kidnapped. Very unfortunate incident. PDP in Africa in 5 years unacceptable. The vice president orders are quoted to say that this is not acceptable. And talking about the ASU, you have the NITDA says the UTAS failed 156 out of 687 tests. So I feel like this is going to go on for a very long time. Abuja Stadium, I mean, really don't know what the issue is, but one would think that if it's going to be a match, whatever it takes, if it takes us getting all of the generators to be working, because people are already feeling that this is a reprisal attack of what happened with the boys, but even though it's not necessarily their fault. But we'll move away from that. National Convention, PDP suits against APC act of desperation. That's what the federal government's quoted to say. These are some of the headlines on the leadership.
Away from the leadership, next is the Punch newspaper. National Convention is the lead story. Aregbesola lies allies, aggrieved chieftain supporters dump APC. Crisis lingers in Kwara, Oshun, Zamfara orders despite Buhari's plea. Aggrieved party members refuse to withdraw court cases in states. Adamo's peace panel fails to beat deadline on report submission. That's the lead story on the Punch newspaper. Other stories are making headlines. Other stories on the front page of the Punch. 1.8 million candidates register for UTME JAMB